So I'm on the range today with my good buddy Jeff Bluevman. We're doing a little pistol and rifle stuff today, but we got a break in the rain, and I wanted to talk about something, a question that I've answered a few times in threads and forums and stuff like that, but it relates to appendix carry and seatbelt position. So there are questions about how to stage your seatbelt and how the seatbelt interacts with the gun in the holster. Now, prior to making holsters, for a number of years, I was an auto mechanic. And so I've got a lot of knowledge about how seatbelts work and how they integrate with the SRS, or the airbag system, in the car. So let's start here. People talk about anatomy and gun access, but a really critical thing to know is how seatbelts work, what they're supposed to do, and what they're intended to do and trying to do in the event of an accident. And that information is prerequisite to staging the seatbelt relative to your holster. So, buckle this up. Now, I always tuck my shirt over the seatbelt. Now, a couple things to know. The seatbelt has the inertia lock, right, for slow speed sudden stops, but it's integrated into the SRS system. A lot of modern seatbelts, in addition to that little inertia lock, are hooked into the airbag system, and they've got an explosive pretensioner in the mechanism that spools and unspools the seatbelt. So when you have a collision, the sensor that senses a collision sends the signal to the SRS system, and it deploys the airbag and activates the pretension. Now, only a small part of what the seatbelt is doing is keeping you from colliding with the windshield. What it's mostly doing is positioning you to receive the airbags, pulling you into the seat to reduce whiplash, because if you're out here and experiencing the accident, you're going to move around. And the structure of the seat and the design of the headrest is also designed to reduce whiplash. And whiplash causes concussions and other serious problems, so you don't want to mess around with that. So that's one thing that it's doing. So it pulls you into the seat, holding you in place to reduce whiplash, and also holding you in place in the correct position to receive the various airbags. The other thing that it's doing is when you're in an accident, you're not just rocking forward, your entire body is moving forward in the car. And what happens is when you move forward in the car, you move downward as well. So anybody who's been an EMT can tell you about leg injuries and knee injuries that occur in a car accident. People's legs get crushed. In some cases, like in this one, in this vehicle, there's an SRS airbag under here, which deploys in order to prevent knee injuries. So your legs are being held in place as well. Now, what happens is when the seatbelt tensions, it pulls down across your lap and locks your backside and your legs into the seat to keep your legs from subducting under the dashboard and getting injured. If you're of the mind, let's just say, for example, where I'm going to put the seatbelt up high and behind my gun, what happens is that allows you to slouch down, and it tightens down over your abdomen with incredible crushing force when that pretensioner goes off. So people say, oh, I'm going to stage my seatbelt behind the gun and across my belly. In the event of an accident, that is very far from optimal seatbelt placement. And regardless of what your other concerns about firearm access are, you are vastly more likely to be involved in a car accident than you are to be in a gunfight in your car. So the position of your seatbelt takes absolute priority over any other consideration. If you're concerned about your safety, you're going to care about where your seatbelt is correctly positioned. And the correct position for your seatbelt is low across your hips, as normal. Now, in this position, it's not preventing me from accessing my gun. I can still get in there and get a full firing grip on the gun without any interference from the seatbelt. And when the seatbelt tightens, it's going to pull down across my hips and keep my hips in the correct position for an accident. The other concern is, well, isn't that going to push the gun into my pelvis or cause an injury? If it's not oriented directly on the bones of your pelvis, it's just going to squish into your soft abdomen. And even if something occurs where the seatbelt tensioner fires and it ratchets down on your gun, and you get like a deep contusion, like a black and green bruise, and it causes like some other small superficial problem. That is far better than the leg and knee and whiplash injuries which will occur if your seatbelt is not being worn correctly. As somebody who makes holsters and as somebody who has knowledge of seatbelt mechanisms, my recommendation is to wear your seatbelt as designed and not reposition the lap belt relative to your gun in any way at all. So that's my rundown on seatbelts.